Trump wins big in last night's primaries. Rubio drops out. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner endorses a presidential candidate. And we're going to show you how to use a tool to do a delegate count and even to do a prediction so that you don't have to listen to Karl Rove. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
There is no way around it. Last night was a huge night for Donald Trump. It was a disaster for Marco Rubio. He withdrew from the race, as you know. We're not going to spend any more time on it. That writing was on the wall. Kasich pulled out the victory he needed in Ohio, and Ted Cruz did not do that well. Now, I'm going to quickly look at last night's results, but then I want to focus on the tool we created for you and the predictions that I made a couple of weeks ago. And you're going to see how close I have been. It's obviously bragging rights for me, but it's so that you understand why it's worth your time to watch this show, okay? Because in spite of the fact that we have a very small staff and we have a very rudimentary studio, decent lighting, you got a decent host. I follow this stuff, unfortunately, morning, noon, and night, so I can bring you information that others aren't because they're so skewed. Okay, quickly, as you can see, we're using political snapshots here, Politico. Trump won Florida handily. This was a devastating defeat for Marco Rubio and showed that Cruz just cannot contend in a lot of these states with 17%. In Illinois, all of the delegates have not yet been allocated. There are 69 that will be allocated. 34 so far have gone to Trump, 4 to Kasich. We don't know how many Cruz is going to get, and Rubio did not make the threshold. So Trump is going to bring in more delegates there, and so will Cruz and possibly Kasich. In Missouri, still too early to call. It looks like Trump is going to squeak out a victory there, which is important because he gets all the statewide delegates by doing that. And then they look at each congressional district to see who won. So it's possible that Trump could take away most or even all of the delegates. Because again, it's 5 delegates per, if my memory is correct, it's 5 delegates per congressional district. Since Trump did not hit 50% for the whole state, they divide up the state by congressional districts, and Trump kicked a lot of butt in the state. In North Carolina, Trump won by 3.5 points over Cruz, but because it is a strict proportional state, Trump only got 29 delegates, Cruz got 27, Kasich 9, Rubio 6. Ohio, this was the must-win for Kasich, and as you can see, he took away all 66 delegates. Now, let's move right into this tool that we have created for you. I'm letting you know ahead of time. It's rudimentary. It is so old school. You have to actually, to use it, you have to actually hit print on your PDF and print it. I mean, you can use it on your computer screen, but it's not interactive, okay? It's every state that's coming up, the date, the number of delegates, whether it's, in fact, let's just look at it. Let's look at it together. Okay, so up at the top, GOP primary, remaining primary schedule, and the delegates available. All right, as of right now, Trump has 661, Cruz has 406, Rubio 169, Kasich 142. There are 1,079 delegates remaining, but that does not include the proportion of Missouri and Illinois that have yet to been given to Trump and Cruz. So there's your key. P equals proportional. The percentage thing means that percent of voters that must votes required to win delegates in a proportional state. WTA simply means winner take all, and CD means a congressional district. All right, so this coming Tuesday, look at what we've got. 9 delegates in the Virgin Islands, and it's winner take all. 9 delegates in American Samoa, and it's winner take all. They get to vote in the Republican primary, but they don't get to vote for president. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at poor people. Taxation without representation is something you kill over. Arizona, 58, winner take all. Utah, that's a proportional state, and 15% is the threshold. So I'm going to go over here a little bit. I want to show you my predictions and what has actually happened. On the votes from the 8th to the 12th, there were 178 delegates, and I predicted that Trump would get 75, Cruz would get 65, and 38 would be split between Rubio and Kasich. All right, in the actual count, Trump got 72, Cruz got 58, and Rubio and Kasich split 37. And the reason that there's a few delegates that are unaccounted for is because of Guam. Guam their delegates have not yet been committed to a candidate because of their rules. All right, so very close there. Let's look at March 15th. On March 15th, I predicted that Trump would get 230, Cruz would get 62, Kasich 66, and Rubio 9. As of right now, Trump, I beg your pardon, I'm sorry. As of right now, Trump got 186, but there's more that's going to come from Missouri and Illinois. Cruz only got 27, but he will get more out of Missouri and Illinois, but he didn't do as well as I thought he would do. Kasich did a little bit better. He got 79, and Rubio got 0. I thought that Rubio would win the Northern Mariana Islands, and he did not. So, as of right now, Donald Trump is on track to win the nomination. And I'm going to quickly go over with you how I think it's going to happen. But more importantly, I'm going to tell you what I love about Ted Cruz, what I love about Donald Trump, and John Boehner, former Speaker of the House. He has endorsed somebody for president. Don't go away. I'm Randall Terry. You're watching Voice of Resistance. If you own a business and would like to advertise on our program, please contact us. We are currently seen on over 130 television stations from coast to coast. We air at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then all times are local. We have a lot of reach, friend, and this is an opportunity at a great price for you to get your product or your service in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people. Also, if there's something that's important to you and you'd like to have a month where you just say thank you to this ministry or promote a certain ministry or a certain cause, contact us. Our rates are incredibly affordable. You'd be surprised. And you, again, can reach into hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of homes. We're currently seen possibly in over 30 million homes. So give us a call, give us an email, and we'll put a commercial up for you. Please hang in there with me. There are people who don't want to hear about politics, and some of them are tempted to switch the station. Let me tell you why it's so important. Presidents, first of all, and this is not in order of priority, presidents get to pick Supreme Court judges. Do you realize that the most earth-shattering and ground-shifting ethical changes in American society were never voted on? The flood of pornography, prayer out of public schools, the Bible out of public schools, the ability to distribute birth control to minors in public school without moms and dads knowing it. 15-year-old girls are getting the pill. 15-year-old boys are getting prophylactics without their parents knowing. It's all Supreme Court rulings. All of it. Child killing, the brutal murder of babies, so-called homosexual marriage. It's the Supreme Court. And presidents get to pick the judges that are on the Supreme Court. So for that reason alone, presidents matter. Never mind the fact that they have to sign bills into law unless there's a 2/3 majority in both houses to override the veto. They sign bills into law. The executive order has been abused by president after president. We've got the president as the commander-in-chief. It really matters. It impacts your life. It impacts my life. So don't fatigue of this. Please don't fatigue of this. If you're not used to it, stay with me. Hopefully you'll have a conversion and you'll realize that you can make a difference. You have an obligation to try and make a difference in politics in America, because our vote is the political currency of our virtue. Our vote is a reflection of our ethics, what matters to us, our priorities. All right, let's move quickly. I'm going to show you how Donald Trump is going to do over the next few weeks. This is going to be real quick. On March 22nd, next Tuesday night, I'm predicting that Cruz will win Arizona. I could be way off, but Arizona is a lot of really conservative Republicans there. So I'm going to give Virgin Islands to Trump, American Samoa. I thought that might go foreign, but it's not going to. I'm going to give Virgin Islands and American Samoa to Trump. Arizona I'm giving to Ted Cruz, and Utah, Trump will get a little bit. So this is going to be a great night for Cruz. Trump's 28, as I'm predicting, Cruz 88. All right, some odd ones in April. Wisconsin, Colorado, New York. I'm predicting Trump will get 100 of those delegates, Cruz 74. I'm going to give Wisconsin to Cruz. Again, a lot of conservative Republicans, and you've got a governor up there who does not like Donald Trump. So we've got Wisconsin, I'm going to give it to Cruz. A little bit of New York, maybe to Cruz, maybe none. There's a lot of bad blood in New York against Ted Cruz, okay? Trump is going to pick up a lot of delegates there. So I'm going 100 for Trump, 74 for Cruz. April. Here's where Ted Cruz gets into real trouble, friends, all right? If you're a Ted Cruz supporter, you've got to work, because he has no natural constituency in the Northeast. Connecticut is a bedroom community for New York, right? You tick off New Yorkers, you've ticked off Connecticut people in many circumstances. Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. I think that Trump is going to do a sweep that night. I don't think that Cruz has a chance in any of those states. Now, this is far away, but I think Trump is going to clean up. We've got some odd ones in May. Indiana, Nevada, West Virginia. I'm sorry, not Nevada, Nebraska, West Virginia, Oregon, and Washington. I'm calling 102 for Trump, Cruz 94. All right, I'm giving Cruz a lot of delegates here, okay? And then in June, you've got the last primary, June 7th, and I think Trump is going to handily win California. And you can see, I believe Cruz will probably win South Dakota and New Mexico, but it doesn't matter. In this scenario, Trump gets 1334. Even if Trump were to lose Pennsylvania and Delaware, he's still the nominee. So I watched Karl Rove last night make a statement that was so false, and that's why I thought, I've got to spend time on this again. Karl Rove was the political advisor to President Bush the Younger. And he said, well, Trump is in real trouble because most of the states left are proportional states. Baloney. Baloney. Look at this research comes from political websites. He said something that wasn't true. Most of the states that are left are winner-take-all states. That's why Ted Cruz is in real trouble. Now, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, what I love about Ted Cruz, what I love about Trump, Boehner's prediction of president, and a Hillary advisor shaking in the knees. I'll tell you why when I come back. Friend, this program is supported by friends like you who believe in what we are doing. We run a very tight ship. Thankfully, we are on over 130 stations across the country, having tremendous impact. We get emails every day. We get letters in the mail, not every day, but almost every day. We hear from people who love what we're doing. What people don't understand is that it's sort of expensive to produce a television show like this. It doesn't require earth-shattering funds, but it does require financial help. So I am asking you, if you enjoy this program, throw us a $10 or a $20 bill every once in a while, or even a $50 or a $100 check. You see the address there on the screen. Your gifts are not tax deductible, by the way, because we want to be able to say what we want to say regarding politics without the IRS telling us no. So if you like the program, I ask for your support. What I love about Ted Cruz. He is a principled constitutionalist. I don't want to call him a principled conservative. I want to call him a principled constitutionalist, usually. All right? And by that I mean he loves the Constitution. He wants the president to stay within the parameters of the Constitution and wants government to pass laws that are in accordance with the Constitution. He will not back down. He will hold on to his principles like a pit bull on a bone, okay? And I've got a dog that's part pit bull. And you cannot get something out of that dog's mouth. He's crazy. That's Ted Pitbull Cruz. He holds on to the Constitution. He holds on to his principles. And I believe that they won't be shaken. He really would instruct the Attorney General to start a criminal investigation to Planned Parenthood. And I love that. I said mostly because he's made statements that would indicate that the Supreme Court makes the law of the land. In other words, in his public statements about Obergefell, the homosexual marriage case, he has said, well, I would rather that it was left to the states. That's a cop-out. The state does not have the right to make something legal that is an act of treachery against God and man, okay? Any more than the states had a right to make slavery legal. In other words, think through the argument. Well, slavery should be left up to the states. I don't want the Supreme Court ruling on it. No. You don't have a right to own a slave. Doesn't matter what state you come from. And you don't have a right to have so-called homosexual marriage. And by the way, are you comparing homosexual marriage to slavery? Well, only in the fact that both of them are serious sins against God. And both of them, according to the scriptures, are sins, slavery and homosexual activity, are sins that cry out to God for judgment. The worst crime is the shedding of innocent blood. Babies being murdered. All right, I love Ted Cruz. I love Donald Trump because he's a wrecking ball. Now before I say that, let me just remind you of something. If you are in a building project, okay, you might need a finished carpenter. You might need someone who knows how to lay tile and have it be level and have it be symmetrical with all the walls. Laying tile is hard. All right? You might need the tools. Let's just talk about tools. You might need the tools to have beautiful, ornate woodwork. You also, in a building project, might need a wrecking ball. And on many levels, that's Donald Trump. Now, if you saw his speech last night, his acceptance speech, his victory speech, he didn't accept anything yet. He wants to have an acceptance speech at the nomination at the convention. I talked to Mitch McConnell. I talked to Speaker Ryan. I'm really getting along with the establishment. It's time for us to unite. So he's trying to be magnanimous. He's trying to be inclusive. He doesn't want the Republican establishment to try and steal this nomination from him. And that is what they are trying to do. Make no bones about it, all right? And the reason I love him is because he is a wrecking ball. One of the greatest impediments to victory for restoring this republic to righteousness is the Republican establishment. Yes, they're the Benedict Arnolds. They're the Judases. They're the traitors. They're the treacherous. Not all of them, but many of them. They're the ones funding Planned Parenthood. They're the ones funding Obamacare. They're the ones funding the Obama's immigration policies. The Republicans are the ones whose Chamber of Commerce buddies want the illegal immigrants to get amnesty. Don't you remember the Gang of Eight was comprised of a bunch of key Republicans who wanted amnesty for illegal immigrants, okay? The Republican Party establishment, they are a key roadblock to victory. And if you've got a roadblock, if you've got a building, if you've got something that's in your way, you don't need a finessing finished carpenter. You need a wrecking ball. And that's what Donald Trump serves as. And by the way, he also serves as something regarding Hillary. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And former Speaker of the House John Boehner's choice for president. This will blow your mind. I want to invite you to go to our website. Almost every book that I have ever written is available as a PDF online for free. We have a ton of products, training materials, tools that are available for you for free. All we ask for is that you give us your email address. That's it. So that we can stay in touch with you and, yes, from time to time, ask you to support this work. So I'm inviting you. Go to the website. Now, for those of you who say, well, I don't want a PDF, I want a real book. You can get one of my books. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling and then give whatever gift you want. And if you can't afford anything, we'll send you the book for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Why are we doing all this? Because we want to change the direction of the country and we need to raise up a fresh generation of warriors to do that. That's why we have this tool. I invite you. Go to the website. See for yourself. Former Speaker of the House, John Boehner, has again proved my point and the point of so many others. This is a traitor, okay? I went to an NRB, National Religious Broadcasters Convention, a couple years ago, and he had the Secret Service throw me out of the meeting. Okay, I'm not kidding you. And I wasn't even in a meeting. I was just in the convention. He had me thrown out because he was afraid that I was going to disrupt the meeting when he was speaking, calling him a traitor, etc. We had sit-ins at his office or protests. We had a sit-in where people were arrested. I had my sights set on John Boehner, politically speaking, for a long time. He is a treacherous man. And he again proved his treachery. Guess who he endorsed for president? Current Speaker Paul Ryan, his protege, his hand-picked successor. Yes. He said, look, if no one gets a victory on the first ballot, then I'm for none of the above. Let's have Speaker Ryan be the nominee. John Boehner, he just disgusts me. He just disgusts me. And he's part of the problem, people. He's the one who caved in like a frightened schoolgirl when Obama and Biden, I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak ill of schoolgirls. Put in your own word picture there. He's the one who caved in to Obama and Biden over funding Planned Parenthood. Instantly. He's just a treacherous, fearful man. And he wants Speaker Ryan to be the nominee. No, not Speaker Ryan. No, not someone part of the establishment. No, not someone who just gave Obama everything he wanted in the last continuing resolution. We haven't even had a budget in 7 years. All right, I got to stay on track. All right, let's close out with David Plouffe. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He was Obama's campaign manager in 2008 and a chief advisor for him for quite some time. I misspoke earlier. I said that it was an advisor to Hillary. This is someone giving advice to Hillary from a distance, someone who is not to be taken lightly. He said, and I quote, "We've never seen anything like this in politics. Democrats should not be popping champagne corks since Donald Trump is doing so well." And in their words, not his, he said, Trump is a more dangerous candidate for Hillary Clinton than Ted Cruz. And the reason he said it is because he's unpredictable and because he has put together this incredible coalition. He's got energy with the youth. He's got black people crossing over. He's got Democrats crossing over. And this man who helped Obama get elected is saying, no, Trump is like Obama in 8 as far as building this coalition is concerned. And Trump is a far more dangerous candidate against Hillary. And I concur. That's that whole wrecking ball thing. I think that Trump versus Hillary or Cruz versus Hillary, Trump does better. In my opinion, no question. Trump could carry New York. Cruz could never carry New York. No chance. So the wrecking ball might hurt the Republican establishment, which I love, and it might just take out the Clinton and Obama Democratic machine, at least do a lot of damage to it. And ooh, would I love that. Listen to Obama's advisor, Hillary. Be afraid of Donald Trump.